There is an idea the world accepts as unquestionable truth. Pain is real. It arrives, you feel it, and that seems proof enough that it exists exactly as it appears to exist. But Lesson 190 of A Course in Miracles comes to question precisely that, not to deny the suffering you experience, but to reveal where it truly comes from. And when you understand that, the choice this lesson proposes stops seeming naive and becomes the most sensible thing you have ever considered. I choose the joy of God instead of pain. Say that slowly, not as an escape from reality, but as a recognition that you have more power over your experience than you imagine. The Course opens with a statement that may seem shocking. Pain is a wrong perspective. It is not a fact. Regardless of the form it takes, emotional, mental, existential, it will disappear when seen correctly. This does not mean that what you feel is not real to you right now. It means that the cause you attribute to it is not the true cause. Why? Because pain, at its core, proclaims that God is cruel. And the Course asks, how could that possibly be true? Pain testifies against the love of God. It says he abandoned his Son, that he sees sin where there is only innocence, that he desires punishment where there is only love. And if God is love, that entire narrative cannot be real. The Course states it plainly. If God is real, there is no pain. If pain is real, there is no God. Not because God is indifferent to suffering, but because suffering belongs to a thought system that is the exact opposite of what God is. The two cannot coexist. The true source of pain. Paragraph 5 of this lesson is one of the most direct in the entire workbook. It is your thoughts alone that cause you pain. Nothing external to your mind can hurt or injure you in any way. This is not stoicism. It is not an instruction to ignore what happens around you. It is something far more radical, the affirmation that the cause of your experience is always within, never outside. Think of something you currently consider a source of suffering. It might be a situation, a person, a loss, a physical limitation. The world would say, of course that hurts. Look at what happened. The Course would say, what happened has no power in itself. What has power is the meaning you gave it, the story you built around it, the belief you confirmed through that experience. This is no small thing. It is a complete inversion of how we understand cause and effect. The world appears to be the cause, and you the effect. The Course reverses that. You are the cause, the world is the effect. And because you are the cause, you can change the effect, not by manipulating external circumstances, but by changing what happens within. There is a line in paragraph 8 that many people find the most unsettling in the lesson. Pain is the ransom you have gladly paid not to be free. That deserves to be unpacked carefully, because it sounds like an accusation, and it is not. The Course is not saying you consciously and deliberately want to suffer. It is saying that within the ego's thought system, pain serves a function. It confirms that you are a victim, that the problem is outside, that you are not responsible. And that exemption from responsibility feels like relief, but it carries an enormous price, which is precisely your freedom. As long as pain comes from outside, there is nothing you can do. You depend on the world changing, on people changing, on circumstances rearranging themselves in your favor. That is a weight that can last a lifetime. But when you accept that the cause lies within, in your thoughts, your beliefs, your perceptions, you reclaim your power. Not the power to control the world, but the power to choose how you relate to it. And that is a difference that changes everything. When the Course speaks of joy, it is not talking about superficial happiness. It is not the joy of a day when everything went right, or a piece of good news, or a moment of pleasure. This joy is of a different nature entirely. Paragraph 6 describes it this way: Yourself is radiant in this holy joy, unchanged, unchanging, and unchangeable, forever and forever. It does not depend on what happens. It does not fluctuate with circumstances. It is a quality that belongs to what you are, not to what you have, not to what you have achieved, not to what the world offers. And here is the turning point. That joy already exists in you. It is not something that needs to be built or earned. What needs to happen is the removal of what obscures it. And what obscures it is precisely the thought system that produces pain, judgment, fear, the belief in separation, the narrative that you are a victim of a hostile world. The Course asks, with a gentleness that is almost wry, do you really want to keep a small corner of your mind as a hospital for pain, a place where everything comes to die? Or would you rather recognize what that space could be if you allowed it? The lesson contains an instruction in paragraph 9 that is at once poetic and completely practical. Lay down the cruel sword of judgment that you hold against your throat. That image is powerful because it reveals something we rarely notice. The judgment that hurts us most is not what we direct at others. It is what we direct at ourselves. The constant internal criticism, the feeling of not being enough, the mental list of everything you did wrong and could have done better. That judgment does not protect you. It is what keeps pain alive. Not because you deserve punishment, but because as long as you see yourself as someone who needs to be punished, you will find confirmation of that everywhere around you. The world will seem like a place that confirms your guilt. Today's practice is not about forcing joy on top of that criticism. It is about laying down the sword, setting judgment aside, about yourself, about others, about situations, not as an act of denial, but as an act of sanity. Because the Course is clear, only a mind that has lost touch with truth could believe that judgment does any good. The Course's guidance for this lesson calls for genuine discipline, not external discipline, with alarms or notifications, but internal. Throughout the day, whenever you notice you are feeling pain in any form, frustration, anxiety, hurt, resentment, sadness, that is the moment to practice. Not to deny what you are feeling, but to pause and ask, where does this come from? What am I thinking that is producing this experience? What belief lies beneath it? And then, with that awareness, make the choice. I choose the joy of God instead of pain. During the longer practice periods, the lesson asks you to enter a place of stillness, a place where there are no defenses, no judgments, no need to be right or to prove anything. The Course describes it as the quiet place where heaven's peace holds all things still at last. That stillness is not passivity. It is the state in which the Holy Spirit can act, because you have stepped out of the way. It is the state in which the joy that already exists in you can surface, because you have stopped covering it with thoughts of pain. Paragraph 11, which closes the lesson, says that this is the only choice that truly exists. Between illusion and truth, between pain and joy, between hell and heaven. Not as abstract concepts, but as concrete experiences, moment by moment. And the course ends with something rarely seen in spiritual texts, an invitation to gratitude toward the teacher. Not because you owe anything, but because you are being guided with extraordinary patience and gentleness back to what has always been true about you. You were not made for pain. You were made for joy, not the small and fragile joy the world offers, but the joy of God, which depends on nothing external, which cannot be taken away, and which is waiting for you right now. Today, each time pain appears, you have an opportunity, not to fight it, not to analyze it to exhaustion, but to recognize it for what it is, a wrong perspective, and to make a different choice. I choose the joy of God instead of pain. That is today's lesson, simple as that. And at the same time, everything. Thank you so much. See you in the next lesson.